Welcome to the Glow Getters podcast. My name is Fahey-Ahrndt, and I'm your host. I teach and inspire leaders to step into their productive selves and find their true potential. I'm a passionate creative and scientist with over 8 years of healthcare leadership experience. At age 25, I stepped into my first management role and didn't find the leadership advice I was looking for. So here I'm giving you the tools to end burnout and enjoy a vibrant career and life. Glad you're here to learn and grow with me. Now, on with the show. Hey Glow Getters, welcome to episode 34 of the Glow Getters podcast. I'm your host, Kayla, and I'm excited for you to be here because today we're going to be talking about sleeping like a shark. It's making me think of Shark Week, which I had to Google. It's actually, I know it's during summer, but I didn't know exactly when. It's normally during July or August, so it's good. We have something to look forward to. I know I watch to learn about the misconceptions of sharks. And I love all the Shark Week memes and definitely like some t-shirts and things like that. My sister is obsessed, and I know I've gotten her like a razorback or something with Shark Week on it. Such a good thing, so fun. And so I was reading this book this weekend. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I took some time to read a book. It's called The Joy of Missing Out. So it's kind of interesting. I was on Amazon, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, and I wanted to get some new books to read, and I'm not sure, I think I was looking for some other things, and this one popped up, and I thought, interesting, because the cover is this woman, you can't see her face, but she has obviously some like Photoshop picture of herself where she has like 8 arms, and she's holding all the things, signifying the things she needs to do, coffee, the kids, lunch, work, all of the things. And she actually uses that in her book, hashtag all the things, as something we don't need to be doing, hashtag all the things. So many more lessons to come from this book. But the first one I wanted to talk about was related to we need to sleep like a shark. So I don't know if you guys know how sharks live and rest, but I didn't know too much about this. So I thought it would be really interesting to share with you. So how this came up in the book is that she's talking about, people not really wanting to take time for themselves, and talking to a friend who is like, well, I have to keep moving. Like, I have so much to do, and jokingly they said, I'm like a shark. I have to keep moving. If I stop, I die. And it was obviously joking, but at the same time, like, we're all busy, we're over busy. And we, if we stop, like, that'll just be the end of us all, right? And so for me, it's like, oh gosh, it hit home because I feel like this sometimes. And now more than ever, as we're at home working, as we're at home taking care of our kids, staying safe, it can feel overwhelming. Like we're home, so we might as well be doing hashtag all the things. And how do we create time for rest when we're physically in the same space if we're working or if we're supposed to be home with our family? Where normally if you're working outside of the home, you do get that like commute or that time to kind of step out of your work clothes and step into your parent, clothes, or step into your spouse clothes, or whatever that looks like for you. Step into your friend mode or your me time. And it's just not separate right now. And so I really love this analogy, this whole story of I'm like a shark. I have to keep moving. If I stop, I die. So sharks need oxygen-rich water flowing over their gills at all times to breathe. And if they stop moving, they will sink to the ocean floor and suffocate. I had no idea. Isn't that crazy? So then this kind of was like, okay, researchers started thinking, well, how do they sleep if they have to keep moving, right? How do they do this? So they actually were doing an expedition to Guadalupe Island, and they were following this great white shark named Emma. And they found that she placed herself directly into the oncoming current in kind of a shallow area, with her jaws wide open, and the current would pass over her gills, keeping her alive while she slowed down into a sleep-like state to conserve energy. So guys, even sharks have to keep moving to have oxygen-rich water flowing over their gills. They sleep too. So right there out the window, you can stop moving. You will not die. And so I want to just talk about my experience and then talk about something that I learned this week and just, I don't know, start the conversation about rest a little bit more. So like I said, being at home all the time, it feels like I'm burning the candle at both ends. I mean, I'm trying to stick to my schedule, which means most days I get up between 5 and 5:30 and, do my gratitude, my affirmations, read 10 minutes of a good book, and then I work out, and then I basically start working. And then I do that all day long, and then I take care of my family, have time with my daughter, make dinner, we eat, and then it's 7 p.m., and then I find myself, trying to get some of my things done, school, coaching, and I typically try to go to bed at 9, but now that we've been at home, I've been going to bed way later, like 10 or 11 or even more, because my husband is a night owl, and he is working on home projects for us. So, how do I continue to get up early and stay up late? Like, it's just not sustainable, and it's not serving me. And it's so bad that it led to a day this week where I had to actually create white space in my calendar where I had to eliminate like all the things I was doing besides like doing my job. And then I literally just wanted to like zone out, and I didn't really feel like posting on social media. And that's when I read this book, The Joy of Missing Out. So it's by Tanya Dalton, if you guys are interested. It is so good. It's an easy read. I read it in 1.5 days. All of this just working, grinding, being awake, from 5 to 11, it's so hard. And it caused me to have a lack of concentration, lack of motivation during the day. I was more irritable, and I'm easily distracted and not present in the moment. And so I realized, like, I can't do this. And I've told friends before, like, I'm not a night owl. I'm a morning person. So asking me to stay up beyond 9 o'clock is rough. It's, 9:30 is fine. 10, maybe, maybe. But it's really not sustainable if I'm getting up so early in the morning. And so this weekend was a great time to kind of rest, refresh. I did a post on my Instagram about some self-care this weekend, about, pausing and resting. And I ended up doing some yard work, which was great because I was outside, we're fixing up our yard, but it was, manual labor. So it's good to like get all of that out, by weeding and all of that. I ended up listening to this other book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown, and it talks about, being really, really pointed and specific to the things you say yes to. And I realized like, oh, I say yes way too much. I need to say no more. And getting really, really specific on the one thing that matters most in the present. And how to be really consistent and making huge gains with like one, big thing that you do in your life that creates meaning for you. And so this book is all about like how to be an essentialist. And something that came up in this book again was sleep. And he talked about how high-performing CEOs in Silicon Valley, what do? Is that's their secret sauce is they sleep. They said they get 8 hours of sleep a night. And they talked about how they don't sleep, shorter periods of time during the week and then catch up all on the weekends. That doesn't work. It's consistently getting your 8 hours in. And some people are plus or minus, but he argues in this book, Greg McKeown, that if you are someone who is like fine on 4 or 5 hours a night, you probably don't even realize what your true capabilities are because you're so used to being like underperforming because you're so sleep deprived. So all this made me think like I can't perform at my best when I'm not sleeping. And work right now is very busy. We have a lot of research studies going on to help support the COVID-19 work that's being done. And I realized a lot of the things I'm doing right now are not routine. So I've got decision fatigue. making extra decisions. I'm doing things I don't normally do. I'm working in a place that's not where I normally work, which is all requires more attention. And so right now, sleep is like one of the most important things that I can do for myself. And that you guys can do for yourself as well. So I wanted to call this out. If you are burning the candle at both ends, or you're like, I'm home, it's fine, I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow, even though you do have to work, it doesn't mean you can stay up like 4 hours later than you normally do, because it's just not sustainable. So I decided last night, I was like, I'm going to go to bed early / on time. And I had been searching Target a few weeks ago and found this cute little face mask in, like the dollar section or whatever that's called, and some beautiful candles that were like inspirational quotes. And I never, ever wear face masks or sleep masks unless I'm like on an international flight and they give them to you on the plane. And so I decided to wear one last night, and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like so high maintenance right now, because all I could think about was Holly Golightly on Breakfast at Tiffany's, or in Breakfast at Tiffany's, when she comes to the door and she's just like totally still sleeping when she buzzes him in. But it was amazing, you guys. I woke up feeling super refreshed. I was tired from doing yard work, but I slept really well. And I put the mask on, and then like almost immediately I had this urge to like check my phone one more time before I went to bed. Anybody do that, where you check your email, you want to check your Instagram one more time before you go to bed? And it stopped me because I couldn't see, because I had the mask on, and it made me think like, is it essential to be checking one more time when you just checked? And the answer was no. And it made me realize like how obsessed we all are with our technology, and how it is so difficult to turn off and disconnect, which is why it's so important to get that rest, so that you don't feel like the anxiety of like having to check in all the time, that there are a million things going on, that you can practice the essentialism of, the one thing that matters right now. And what mattered right then was going to sleep. So this is, all this to say is, make sure that you rest and have a start and an end to your day. Many of us have a start time, but we don't have an end time. Make sure you have an end time and take it seriously. And if you see me on social media past 9 p.m. on weekdays, message me to go to sleep. So if you are interested in helping yourself have a physical cue to go to sleep, I definitely recommend having a sleep or an eye mask. Even if it feels weird at first, you're just going to love it once you try it. So I did a post on this on my social media, on my Instagram at Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, and at Glow Getters at Home, which is kind of my Instagram account for all things healthy at home. And I wanted to know, like, are sleep masks, is there any science behind how these help with sleep, or are they purely for vanity, or just for those high maintenance folks you see on TV? And there were a few studies that showed that more darkness helps our circadian rhythm and increases melatonin. And there was a study where patients were in the ICU, or a simulated ICU, and they were wearing earplugs and eye masks, and their melatonin increased and their circadian rhythm was normalized, and they were able to sleep better. So melatonin is a hormone that regulates sleep cycle, or your circadian rhythm, and it's primarily released by the pineal gland. And I was looking this up a little bit more, and it was really, really interesting. Human infants' melatonin levels become regular in about the 3rd month after birth. No wonder they don't sleep on a normal schedule, right? Quote unquote normal. And their highest levels are measured between midnight and 8 a.m. So that's probably why they sleep a little bit more during that time. It said, doing my research, I found something that said human melatonin production decreases as a person ages, and also as children become teenagers, the nightly schedule of melatonin release is delayed, leading to later sleeping and waking times. So interesting. I also saw that there were some studies looking at melatonin related to the immune system, thinking that it might be related to being anti-inflammatory. So if you use a sleep mask, it can help you with increased melatonin because it's even deeper darkness in your room. We need light is really interesting when it comes to sleep patterns. That's why they tell you not to look at your phone before you go to bed, because it can mess with your melatonin, and then your whole sleep and wake schedule and cycle is off. So if you are looking for something that's not pure vanity but does have a little bit of science behind it and a fun way to think about sleep and pampering yourself and self-care, get an eye mask or sleep mask. Mine was $3 at Target. And just remember, even sharks sleep. Even though they are predators and have so much going on for them and feel like they always need to keep moving, they do take some time to go into a sleep-like state, and that means you guys can too. All right, I hope this is a reminder to you guys to take care of yourself and to know that you don't have to stay up longer or, be up later to be productive. You're actually going to be more productive and be able to give your best self if you are rested. All right, Glow Getters, until next time, keep living your best life and be a light in the world. Talk soon. Bye. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Glow Getters podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a good rating and review on iTunes. It really helps me get this podcast in front of other people. If you'd like to connect with me, please follow me on Instagram at Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt. And you can always check out my website for more content, blog posts, and recipes at glowgetterslife.com. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.